Mr. John David Kim, Head of NEA and DXAF GSME, Julian Gorman, the Head of APAC GSME, Technologist Mahdi Aziz, CEO MDEC, Cik Samsul Khan Majid, CTIO MPMC, distinguished guests, the fraternity of the mobile network operators. Interesting relationship, if you could call it that, with the GSMA actually spans the last few years when I was first term Member of Parliament, and of course at that time would read reports prepared by an arm of GSMA, which is GSMA Intelligence, which I found to be very insightful and insightful. I play on words, where it asked some very interesting questions, which I think for me as a member of the opposition at that time was quite interesting. And then when actually, for those of you who are Malaysian and are cognizant of the fact that where we are today, literally 1 year ago, we were in the midst of, in the Malaysian history, the first of its kind, where we had a hung parliament. And it was this time last year we were trying to put together and form a new government. I did not expect at that material time that I would be invited to sit in Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's cabinet. What more, to hold this portfolio, even more to be in charge of helping DNB and 5G reach 80% coverage of populated areas. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, a year on, we are, as of end of October, at 73% coverage of populated areas, and only probably just a month or two away from reaching the target set by the Right Honourable Prime Minister in February of this year to reach 80% coverage of populated areas. And I never in my wildest dreams expected to perhaps stand here at a forum or an event such as this, also addressing members of the mobile network fraternity who probably in a previous life would be, I wouldn't say arch enemies, but you know, Malaysians for a very long time have wondered why are we paying so much for our internet speeds. But I'm happy to say now we have been able to prove that by working together very closely in a collegial fashion, we are able to overcome very what you might consider quotidian, everyday issues or concerns, including the price of data. I'm also very happy that because of the rather, how would you say, innovative approach that the Malaysian government has taken to roll out via a single wholesale network, we have been able to push for very affordable, very cheap price of 5G data. At which point I'd like to remind Dato' Idham of your commitment to not charge Malaysians more for joining 5G. So, in front of everybody, I take it that you are committed to this, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause. Thank you, yes, for not charging people extra. I'd like to remind Dr. Idham and Ing, who's not here, that the 5G network was rolled out, you know, without you having to spend very much. So, inshallah, yeah, for Malaysians who are here in the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, as Technologist Mahdi mentioned just now, I have just returned with the Prime Minister and the Minister of International Trade, Investment, as well as the Foreign Minister from several trips, including one in San Francisco, where the commitment given by a number of major companies, including Microsoft, Google, DPG, Innovix, TikTok, indicate that Malaysia continues to remain a preferred destination, particularly for investments related to data centers. one of the very interesting conversations that we had revolves around policies on data protection. One of the interesting issues that was raised was digital free trade zone, which we have been discussing since 2018, but also the idea of data embassies. And my deputy, the Honorable Tony Ching, happens to be the host in her constituency of most of the major data centers in Malaysia. Yeah. So I think we will have to have a very good and interesting conversation after this, Yamoman, because there is, of course, we will inshallah be seeing more investment coming into your constituency, in your part of your neck of the woods. But there's also a growing interest in what role Malaysia can play with regards to hosting a lot of these data centers. As you may also be interested to know, with these data centers being in Malaysia, there will also be a question about greater connectivity. I think these are very interesting conversations. I'm not entirely prepared to say more here, but with GSMA and also members of the fraternity, I think we will be having a lot more conversations after this. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, one of the key things that was raised, particularly in the Malaysian context, it is trying to convince not only the Malaysian public but also Malaysian businesses of the virtues, of the opportunities presented, the plus points, and how technologies, including 5G, can help to not only reduce costs, increase efficiency and productivity, but fundamentally bring some kind of mental change to organizations to prepare for future technologies. And as Technologies Mahathir Aziz mentioned just now, we're not only looking and talking about 5G, but a whole host of technologies. And so I encourage those of you to strike up more conversations, including with MDEC, to perhaps see in a Malaysian context, what is it that the federal government can do to facilitate your investments and to expedite certain processes, including bringing in a talent from abroad. This is a commitment given by the Right Honourable Prime Minister and of this government, that we wish to change the way that the world looks at Malaysia. This is very important for us because when we announced the new Industrial Master Plan 2030, one of the key pillars, therefore, one of the key pillars that we see as driving Malaysia's economic growth for the next decade is digital economy. As such, connectivity, as well as a whole host of these other technologies that Technologies Mahathir mentioned, will play a key role in facilitating and enhancing, accelerating the growth of digital economy in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely not using any of the points given to me in the speech. As I said, I just came back from like a 20-hour flight. It's like it was a very interesting trip I took with the Prime Minister. It was literally around the world in 12 days. But I think what we saw and our discussions and our conversations with some of these major organizations and companies indicate that Malaysia continues to be a preferred destination for foreign direct investments. And I wish to reiterate the commitment of this administration that in terms of developing governance structures, public policy, including regulatory frameworks, we are prepared to engage with industry, we're prepared to engage with businesses, organizations, in order to have a particularly robust and future-ready ecosystem. What more, given that Malaysia will chair ASEAN in 2025. One of the biggest challenges we see throughout the ASEAN region, particularly, is at this stage, different countries within ASEAN possess a slightly different preparedness when it comes to regulatory frameworks, particularly around data protection. As such, one of the key issues that we will be working on is not only digital economic framework agreement, but also working with my counterparts in the ASEAN Digital Ministers meeting context to accelerate the development of regulatory frameworks within ASEAN to make sure that 660 million people are more ready to embrace and participate in digital economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to the outcome of this summit. I'm very pleased that GSMA has chosen Malaysia for this event. Inshallah, lepas ni, after this we will have some conversations. I've mentioned to Julian and the team, in fact, in Korea, and I had a very pleasant opportunity to visit the GSMA headquarters in London. I think just like several other organizations that are looking to Malaysia, not only to land their data centers, but also their regional headquarters, I think these are some things that we look forward to, inshallah. But ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the very best over the next few days, and enjoy being in Malaysia. Please make sure, MDEC, that you take them to a kendurian, a kenduri durian. So you've got to make sure that Julian and the team, Sam and all, pastikan kita ada bawa durian untuk diorang makan, durian diplomacy, and enjoy Malaysian hospitality. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I look forward to more conversations soon. Assalamualaikum.